Your mom.
All right, guys, here we go. Before we start, we have to know one thing. And I mean, we have to know several things, but the main thing that we got to know to be successful in today's assignment is the quadratic formula. So when you guys were in Algebra 2, you did a lot of this. You did a lot of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. And in order to solve for x, you can either factor it out if it was factorable, or you could use the quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Cool or not cool? All right, you can use the quadratic formula on anything that looks quote unquote quadratic. Quote unquote. So it doesn't have to be an x squared, it just has to be in that form of quote unquote quadratic. So what am I saying? Do you guys like happy faces and triangles?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I have a triangle with a little happy face on the inside squared, plus, and there's my little triangle, plus b triangle with a little happy face, plus c equals 0, I can solve for my triangles with happy faces by using the quadratic formula. Does that make sense? Notice that's a triangle with a happy face and not just a regular triangle. So it's immediately way cooler. Does that make sense? Perfect. Yeah, some of you guys don't like it. It doesn't make sense? Ask.
Are you saying the triangle could be degrees?
It can, no, I'm just saying, all right, so I hope that you guys don't confuse that triangle for literal. Look, az squared plus bz plus c equals 0. I can find my zeros for z by just going negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That makes sense? Okay. Having said that, I think we're good now and we can go more advanced. So I want you guys to observe. So let's see what's happening here. Notice that this 80 centimeters and this 80 centimeters, those segments are the same. Do we notice that?
Yes, sir.
Notice I have a 50 centimeter segment and a 50 centimeter segment on both of those triangles. And notice that I want to have a really long segment and I want to have a really short segment. Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
Notice the 26 degrees are the same. And so look, all three of those conditions and I have two different triangles. Why does that occur? Well, imagine that this was in a, what do you call that? Like a hinge or a pivot or... Yeah. So look, that 50 centimeters, a hinge, I would say hinge. So notice, yeah, pendulum. Notice that I can have two different values there that will create either a short triangle or a small triangle. If this is closer to the 26 degrees or that vertice, it creates this segment, which is small. If I were able to pivot it, or if that were a hinge and I can move that around, well look, when do I hit the horizontal again? Bam, right there. And that creates this triangle. Do you guys see that?
Yes, sir.
So today we're going to calculate both of these distances. We're going to calculate the big distance and the small distance. Not all triangles have two. Not all triangles have them. Some triangles just have one possible value, but some do have two possible values. And that's what we're going to find. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to try and draw this to the best of my ability the way that, so let me see. I'm going to draw a triangle. Okay. So there's x, and then little x has to be this guy. So little x. Oh, no, that's 50. 50. And then here's y. So there's little y. And then here's z. So here's little z, and that is 80. And then what, 26 degrees? Okay. If this segment looks like that, then there it is. There's my answer. Actually, this one is this one here. So look, there it is. I either have this condition or this condition. Do you guys see that? So this is not the only triangle possible. It could also look like... It could also look like this, guys. 26 degrees, 80, 50, and there it is. So I have two different y values. Do we see that? We're going to calculate those two different y values. Because the 26 degrees is given, Okay, I'll stop because I can see some of you guys writing. Trying to do a better job of, notes and all that. Okay, here we go. Now that I see everyone that has stopped writing, all right. Because 26 degrees is given and two sides are given, I have two options. I can either use the law of sines or the law of cosines. I cannot use law of sines because to use law of sines, I need another angle. Do you guys agree? So the way it's set up right now, I am forced to use the law of cosines. Now, if they would give me another angle and one side, then I could use law of sines to figure out the ambiguous cases as well. Maybe we'll do that the next time. So here we go. We're going to use law of cosines. They give me the 26 degrees, so I am forced to put this one on the outside. I'm using law of cosines. 50 squared equals, let's see, 80 squared plus y squared. Maybe I should have put the y squared first. It doesn't matter. Minus 2 times 80 times y cosine 26 degrees. All right. You are done with pre-cal. Your job now is to make it look like a quadratic. So I'm going to fix it. Here I am. I'm fixing it. So I'm going to move the 50 squared to the right. I'm going to put 0 equals, I'll put the y squared first, plus negative 2 times 80 cosine 26 degrees, close, put the y like that, plus 80 squared minus 50 squared. Hey, relax, guys. Because I wanted it to look like this. I want it to look like that, but instead of these y's. Does that make sense? All right, so here we go. I'm going to solve for y. A is 1. B is negative 2 times 80 cosine 26 degrees. And C is whatever 80 squared minus 50 squared is. C is always a constant. Now, for you not to make any mistakes, you're not going to type those numbers in the calculator because you're going to make sure that you're just going to type letters so you never make mistakes. I'll show you with the Inspire as well. You know what? Should I bring the Inspire? What do you guys want me to use? Inspire?
Yeah.
All right. Let me use the Inspire then. It's just that the Inspire has really small buttons. But okay. I aim to please, and I want to make sure that you guys have a quality education because I want to be the best. What, are you talking smack? You always talk smack. You know what I do to smack talkers?
Smack 'em.
Absolutely nothing, because I don't believe in violence. But, nah, I don't do anything. I really don't. All right. So here it is. Here's my calculator. I'm going to change to degree mode, guys. So let me go to the home screen. Number 5. Document settings. Man, all these buttons are so small, guys. Okay. All right. Here we go, guys. Focus, focus, focus. You guys ready? If you want to use the letter A, you don't have to because A is 1. It's always going to be 1. But if you're adamant, because I had someone this morning that is like, I want to use the letter A. I'm like, okay. So here's what you do. Push 1, and then I'm push Control Store. It's where the variable, where the VAR is at. And I'm going to put the letter A. And when I push Enter, every time you push A, it's going to say 1. Do you guys see how I did it? Yeah. All right, here we go. For B, negative 2 times 80 cosine, and I have small fingers here, so it's kind of big fingers. 26, I push Enter, and I'm going to store it. I guess I should have put Control Store. Control Store B. So every time I use B, it's going to be that. And then I'm going to go 80 squared minus 50 squared. If you're really good and you never get it wrong ever, then you don't have to use the ABC. You can just go ahead and just use the numbers. I'm going to Control Store, and I'm going to store it into C. So I have right now in my calculator, A is 1, B is negative 280 cosine 26, and C is 80 squared minus 50 squared. Are we okay? Here's what I'm going to do. My Y values are negative B plus minus square root B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. So that's what I'm going to do, guys. So here we go. I'm going to push control, and I see division sign, and I have a little fraction. Can you ever see? I can't even see that calculator from way over there. I have a little fraction there, and I'm just going to type in negative b plus square root of b squared minus 4a, and then you got to put the multiply symbol, times c, because then it's going to think that ac is something new, all over 2a. And I push enter or control enter to give you a decimal, and there's one answer. 107.542, and these are centimeters. We're okay? How do I get the other answer? Subtract. So I'm just going to scroll up. I'm going to push enter. And instead of a plus, I'm going to change the plus to a minus. Come on, buddy, hurry up. Change that to a minus, enter, control enter. And there's the other answer. 36.2648. All right. Here's the question I have for you guys. If I get a negative answer, if I get y equals negative 20 or negative 30, it actually means something. It really does mean something. But if you get a negative answer, do I have a triangle? No. Your values must be positive. If you get an error message from the square root, that means it is not possible to have a triangle with those dimensions, with that angle and those side lengths. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah. So not every single question that you have today is going to have two answers. Most will, and I think there's two questions that don't even have a triangle. Cool or not cool? Yeah. So all you're doing today is practicing, and let me get that ready for you guys. No, it's at my mom's.